Hey folks, man, this is Monk, and we are back with another episode of Classes of Cinematics, man. And joining us always with my co-host, we got Bobby Blockbuster.
Yo, yo, yo!
Yeah, and this is the first Sunday of the NFL season, man. And today we got one that kind of relates to that, man. We're going to be looking at Any Given Sunday. Yeah, and this is directed by Oliver Stone. Mm-hmm. What's the release date on this? I think it's
1999. Yeah, so we just under the cap that we set for ourselves. All films under 2000 and before. Mm-hmm.
So this is crazy, man. So in this film, the DAmato's Miami Sharks were at the top. Now his team is struggling with 3 consecutive losses, sliding attendance, an aging hero. The quarterback,
Cap Rooney.
Yeah, Cap Rooney. So off the field, DAmato is struggling with a failed marriage and estranged children, and is on a collision course with Christina Pagniacci, who is the team's owner now. So it's an interesting story, man. That's pretty much the synopsis. Let's get into this cast a little bit. This is monumental, man. It's a great cast.
Hall of Fame cast, dude. Yeah. All of them would get a busk if this was,
Yeah, on paper, it's like, I got to see this. Why wouldn't I watch
Why
this?
would you not?
So you got Al Pacino, who's our main character here. We get Oliver Stone pops up in here as a bit part, even though he's also the director of this. Jamie Foxx, also Cameron Diaz, Dennis Quaid, James Woods, we got Lawrence Taylor, LL Cool J, Jim Brown, Elizabeth Berkley, Lauren Holly, Bill Bellamy, Andrew Brzezinski, it's just a lot of people. Matthew Modine, Layla Rashawn, Aaron Eckhart, John C. McGinley, Clifton Davis, Pat O'Hara, Dwayne Martin. Dang, we got T.O.'s in this too, man.
Yo, he has a brief. Wow. Yeah, he has a brief segment.
James Cameron, he's in shit. He's in a lot of stuff. James Cameron, Gianni Russo, just a lot of just great actors and a lot of athletes too, man.
His name is the Boogeyman, and he played Beast Man.
That's crazy.
It doesn't get no better than that.
Yeah, man. It's dope. It's deep, but basically it's about this fantasy. It's not fantasy. Like, I don't want to get it confused with fantasy football, but it's a made-up football league and football players, man.
It's supposed to be in the likeness of like Arena League or like the AFL. Like if NFL is 4A, this would be like AAA. You know what I'm saying? Like semi-pro. I think is what they were shooting for.
But I feel like in this world, though, this is probably the Premier League. Just because later on, our character played by Jamie Foxx, once he starts coming up, he's getting like NFL level kind of looks thrown at him, like endorsements and stuff like that. But pretty much what ends up happening is, this made up team, the Sharks, they're struggling, man. They've just been in a slump, and their quarterback goes down. So they've got a guy that's been riding the bench, so they throw in the game, Willie Beeman, and he starts winning, played by Jamie Foxx, man. And then you've got this whole dichotomy is, do we run with this guy? And he's kind of is a loose cannon in a lot of ways. He's skilled, but at the same time, he's bucking the advice of the coaches and the staff, changing the plays in the huddle, things like that. But
it's all understandable. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. Like, so, when the movie starts, it gives us, the football sequence, and you see Cap Rooney, who's played by Dennis Quaid. He's our seasoned veteran, 3-time MVP, 2-time what do they call it, the perennial bowl, which is their version of the Super Bowl, champion, all this stuff. And he gets cranked.
Yeah.
Woo! He gets cranked. Like, hit. And
here's the thing, like, though, when I look at it with backup quarterbacks, they're there because you got to have the roster space. But let's be honest, man. Most teams don't prepare for their main guy to go down.
But here's the thing.
They really don't.
Jamie Foxx wasn't even the backup. He was the backup to the backup. Because Quaid goes out, and then the backup goes in, and then he goes out the next play. So 2 plays, 2 quarterbacks. Yeah. Jamie Foxx then comes in, so he was a third stringer, pretty much, a level above practice squad. And as they start to tell us a little bit of the backdrop of his story, this was his 15, and 2 teams when he first came into this league tried to switch him from quarterback and have him play like cornerback because he had fast feet and all this stuff.
It's that messed up thing where it's a reason why I don't put a lot of stake in the NFL draft. People always say to me, "Oh, you guys got this." I'm like, yeah, but I got to see this dude play. I got to see what happens with him. And a lot of times, a guy will get drafted to a team, but that don't mean he's necessarily going to be on that team. He might get pawned off for another trade or somewhere. But, it's a crazy.
The thing is to your point. Yes, he does start to go rogue. Jamie Foxx as Willie Beeman does start to go rogue. He does start to get a swollen head. He does start to smell his biscuits because these are things that start to happen with success at times. But because of how things went for his career up until this point, like he's like, yo, this might be my last opportunity. I have to make a name for myself. I don't want to be another red shirt on somebody else's squad. I don't want to be making base pay. He went from being a no name to a household name in a 3-game span. You know what I'm saying?
I think we're jumping ahead a little bit. We're looking at just the situation, the story, but I think that might be the first thing we could talk about things that we like. And I love Jamie Foxx's portrayal as the Willie Beeman in this
absolutely
in this film. I mean, like I said, he takes on his role, but it's also like he's a hungry guy, man. And I think that's the thing that actually happens in real sports, man.
Absolutely,
like NBA and NFL. Like, think about how many guys that we know could possibly be great, but they got drafted. But because they maybe got drafted lower or whatever, they were sidelined, even though they were good enough to be a starter. And sometimes you luck into success, man. There's a couple of players I think that we can mention that got their shot because the main guy got injured. They weren't the starters or whatever, and then you realize, like, yo, this mug is good. We running with him. We giving him the bread when it's time to renew the contract.
And Jamie Foxx as an actor does great at this. Take a wild guess. Just spitball. Just close your eyes and shot in the dark. Who do you think they were casting before they casted Jamie Foxx?
I don't know. I feel like Bill Bellamy could have been up for this role too, but I don't know at the time. I got to go back to the
Sean P. Diddy Combs.
Diddy
was the first choice until he came in, he auditioned, and they realized that he had no athletic talent. He can't act. Jamie Foxx was actually a quarterback in high school.
And that's the thing, man. Like one of the aspects that I think makes Jamie Foxx so great is is there nothing he can't do?
Yes.
He can sing.
Dude,
dance,
I think in the Metric song, the steam, that was like his first, that was his way to showcase his singing. Because after that, then he linked up with Twister, and then he dropped the whole album.
Yeah, he can sing.
Dude, very very talented,
very talented all around. One of those human beings that could do anything, and even to the point of being in this athletic film role and making it look believable. I felt like he was
Yes, and like I said, just when it comes to the casting, I love what we get from Al Pacino as the coach. I think he does great.
Yeah.
Which is also funny in this film. His name is Tony DAmato. He's the coach of the Miami Sharks. There was another film that came out in the 80s called Scarface. His name was Tony Montana. And he also resided in Miami, Florida. Wow, it's funny how things happen. But
I also thought it was interesting to make Cameron Diaz the team owner. We don't see women owners. I don't think there's a women owner in the NFL actually right now, or has it ever been? And I remember they flirted with that a little bit in one of my favorite series. I love this dumbass HBO series back in the day, First and 10, where they had a women owner or even a woman manager of the team, at one time. So I think that's an interesting dynamic of her having to deal with this in what's traditionally a boys' club,
Well, yeah, and like I was saying, when it comes to the casting, do you know that they reached out to Robert De Niro? They wanted Robert De Niro to play the coach, and then before they reached out to Al or Robert De Niro, their first choice, they reached out to Clint Eastwood.
Wow.
And which that, I could see all three of them, bodying this role in the same way. But the difference between Al or De Niro, who respectfully declined, Clint Eastwood then wanted to direct the film.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'll put it this way: Al is good here, but I don't feel like it's a role that no one else could have done. You know what I'm saying?
No.
He's solid here, and I think his stature in real life adds a little bit to what this character is doing here. You know what I'm saying? But it's also weird because he's wearing a suit the whole goddamn time. He's not even wearing the traditional. Like, I'm gonna throw my polo shirt on with the team logo on the side. Like while he's on the, he's in a suit.
No, you can see he's an old school coach.
He's like, this feels like an NBA coach. Like, you never seen an NFL coach with a suit on the the plays. This is crazy.
The thing with this, why I think it works so well.
That's Oliver Stone touch.
Why it works so well for Al Pacino is because he embraced this role, because this was something so different from the other roles that he's normally casting. Being the cop or being the gangster figure that we normally see. So this gave him an opportunity to still, have that Al Pacino aggression and still have your voice heard and get these long monologues where you get to speak and really put your heart into it.
I mean, it's definitely a ridiculous league, man. Like, as I'm looking at it, it's hyper real. It's not going for the realism, you know what I'm saying, of what we're used to, out here. So they're definitely taking some liberties, and that's one thing that Oliver Stone does as a director, man. He's definitely experimenting visually and doing all that. But I will say another aspect that I love of the film is the actual football action. Like there's a lot of it, dude.
There's tons of it.
And what I think is the way that they chose to film it actually is great, because it gives you a sense of the speed of the game, man, which you don't really get a lot, man. A lot of times we get faraway shots and stuff like that. It's like they had cameraman in there, and there's some other effects they use, like the jittering and the stuttering with the camera that actually add to it, man. The hits hit hard. The speed and the running, all of that just looks great, dude.
It's funny you say it, because that was going to be my next point. Shout out to the cinematography, because like for me, the on-field action, it does give a sense of being in the game. It does give me that like that sense of realistic football style of play. You know what I'm saying? Granted, all the other stuff, it's a movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The way that they shoot this, and it's like this constant rotation of cameras and the screen shaking at times to, really give us that feel like when the crowd is roaring and things like that. I mean, it works. It works all the way around. And, another thing that really holds up with this film is not just the way that it was shot, but the music. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this film does have all of the ingredients.
There's two things about that. The score is done by Bill Conti. And if you know anything about Bill Conti, that's Rocky, bro. That's the original, But also, they got a lot of, at the time, contemporary music mixed in with, like the funniest part to me is the Kirk Franklin comes on. It's like, whoa, do you want a revolution?
Yep.
Yo,
man.
It's like, whoa.
But I mean, dude, this film has all the ingredients of what it takes to make a solid sports entertainment film. I mean, there's really, when it comes to sports films, there's like two ways you can go. You can go the comedic route, or you can go the drama route. You know what I'm saying? I haven't seen no horror sports films or anything like that. And this one, it took the more practical approach.
Why don't we have a horror sports film?
The only one I can think of, the closest thing to it would be the Fan.
on the clickety clack and start writing that out.
Yeah, dude, because one of my favorite books that I've read is called Play Dead, and it's actually pretty much long and short high school football players, and it's like zombies versus fucking werewolves, dog, on championship day. It was trippy. I read that book twice, so I like this so much. But nevertheless, this one, since it took the drama approach, I mean, it gives us everything that we need. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you get the solid story. You get someone to root for, someone to root against, depending on how you view the film. You know what I'm saying? The game time action. Like, how many times? This is what, the third, fourth sports movie that we've done.
That's one of the things that, like I said, like they do a lot of game. We get a lot of gameplay.
One gripe that we've had,
we get a lot of gameplay
in other ones, especially like with this one, dude. The last 30 minutes of this film is pretty much on-field action. You know what I'm saying? Which also, shout out to Al, because another thing that he did great in this was his pre-game, post-game speeches. Love them. The one that he gives before that playoff game was just, it gave me the chills. And this is still just a movie, but
it's a weird movie. I don't know, man. Because parts of me wonder, like, what is the ultimate goal of this film? What is it trying to do? But for the most part, we're just a fly on the wall in this crazy world that these characters exist and play in, man. Because one of the aspects I do like the office talk, them
the politics. They get into the politics. A lot of things that people don't want to talk about. It's not just the on-field action.
Even Cameron Diaz's character, confronting the coach about winning, and you realize, the winning is one thing, but also you realize the more they win, the more they're going to get better TV deals, better opportunities for endorsements and all that stuff. And even the aspect of it, even though Quaid's character, the QB, the sideline is a back problem, but even that, dealing with injuries or and like
wanting to cut him.
The crazy thing about it, he's 38 years old when we start this movie, which is he's like Brett Favre, honestly. Honestly, he's Brett Favre, and he's like that's what.
But he's still successful, and then but then it also like I said, it brings us from like. It does a great job of separating on field to off field because it shows, like I said, all the intricacies behind it, like how Cameron Diaz is like, oh well, we got our next up and comer in Willie Beeman, we can cut Dennis Quaid, but then even in his home life, like he's doubting himself. He's like, man, I don't know if I can come back from that. And his wife is like, nah, I'm not hearing that. You're a football player. Yeah. I'm not hearing that. Like almost crazy. Like she pretty much, for all intents and purposes, called him like stop being a bitch.
But it's wild to me because you realize if he's 38 years old and still in this league, he's probably been successful enough. Their future should be
3
secured.
MVPs, 2 Super Bowls.
I hope their future secured.
That's Hall of Fame.
But then you've also got the other aspects of like Lawrence Taylor's character, who's probably close to retiring, but he's also trying to bonus out just to get a little bit more cushion in his retirement. And then there's like, but I want this, but also I'm fighting against. Maybe if I play too much, my health is going to go.
Lawrence Taylor is one hit away from dying.
Yeah, so would I go for the bonus or do I risk this? And that is a real interesting scene, the way they put that in there, man. Like the thing about it is like it presents this in a way like we're looking at, I guess, what we would call modern day gladiators, man. And one of the questions the film does bring up, I'll give it credit for that, is like, are we treating these guys the best that we can and giving them the best that we can?
It touches on the moral compass, especially when it comes to the doctors. Because like you said, what we get from Lawrence Taylor is, his character is, I mean, it's at the forefront of that. I mean, this dude, he had a spine injury or a neck injury that never healed. And they said, like, if he gets hit the right way, it could lead to paralysis. It could lead to death. And then he has to beg the coach. He was like, look, man, I gave you 13 years of my life. Give me one. And he was like, man, I'm 1 sack and 3 tackles away from my $1 million bonus.
What's a high sack count for the league right now with the top linebacker?
I think if you get 6 to 8 of them.
Sacks are hard, man.
But man, in his mind, though, he's like, he knows this is his last year.
3 tackles, and which you get 3 tackles in the game.
But to walk out with the opportunity to get $1 million bonus, and it also shows how how important these implied bonuses are to these players. Because I mean, when it comes to LL Cool J's player, like his character, he's like, man, that's my touchdown. These are my yards. I need this to make my bonuses, because so many of these contracts are incentive based.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And then as you get closer to reaching that goal, then they start clipping your wings. Like that's what I'm saying. Like the way that they get into the politics is great.
I feel like it's a testament to what the league is, man. Like if you look at NBA, the NBA has much better collective bargaining agreement. They don't play for these kind of bonuses levels. You know what I'm saying? It's like nah, I'm getting my money. I don't got to hit 100 free throws to get, nah, I'm gonna get my money. They're
not so incentive based.
Yeah, but when you don't have that much power, then they're leveraging those incentives against you, man, and as a way to underpay you.
It's all bargaining chips.
Maybe this guy's worth $40 million, but we could give him 30 and then just say the other ones are incentives, knowing that he's probably not going to hit half of the incentives. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy, dude.
That's another thing that I love about this film is just like the dynamics between all the characters. I mean, we have our front runners in, your Dennis Quaid, your Al Pacinos, your Jamie Foxx. Yeah. But these secondary characters, they hit so hard. Like James Woods as the scumbag
he's perfect.
doctor.
He's perfectly cast. I saw that overnight. I was like, this guy's kind of scummy in real life. It's perfect.
He's scummy. He's scummy in this. Yeah. He was the same kind of scummy doctor in this as he was the scummy boyfriend in Casino. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
It made perfect sense. Dude.
I love what we got from Jim Brown as the D coordinator.
I do. Like
he was
Jim
great.
Brown in real life. Some of
great.
his politics rubbed me the wrong way, but for what he brought to this film, dude, I couldn't imagine you getting in on anyone better and getting better results.
That one part, man, he's kirking off on the sidelines, and LT was like, "Yo, chill out, you're gonna have a stroke." He's like, "I don't get strokes, motherfucker. I give them."
but it works on two levels because he's the guy that was in the shit, and effectively because I remember hearing about him damn near biting some dude's finger off, and it's like, yo, what's up with that? He's like, yo, everything outside the helmet, he's got fair game. You come inside my helmet, hey, that's on you. That's on you.
Yeah. And then also, what we get from John C. McKinley as the sports writer. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like all of these secondary characters, they really carry enough weight to make this film like just so spread out. We're not like you can't just focus on one character while watching this film.
I mean, I definitely love this film, but there are some flaws, and one of them I think is the way that the narrative is laid out. Because essentially, we're just getting glimpses in. Like I said, we're flies on the wall in this world, and I think some of it gets a little wonky in the continuity and the presentation and the flow of it, but when we do get the scenes and everything, all that stuff works really great because you've got this great cast, man. Like even right now in the background, we got Willie Beeman and his. I don't know if it's his wife.
That's his girlfriend.
And his girlfriend. They're arguing
long-term girlfriend.
They're arguing. She feels like, yo, now that your stock is rising, like like
his head's getting smaller. I think he's better than everybody. Yeah.
Or I might lose you to one of these other chicks running around
because of how he's carrying himself.
But I don't think she's in danger of that. But I do feel the fact that she feels a way and she's brought it up to him
because he's switching up.
Because acted so well and done so well, man. Like that's one of the aspects of this film, man. As crazy and outrageous it is, because like some of this stuff I feel like is definitely exaggerated, kind of like how they exaggerated the high school and Lean on Me. But like even like the party when when my man's when LT saws his truck in half, I'm like, come on, man, this is a little bit too wild, bro. But I see what he's going at, man. But bring it back to the gladiator thing, man. Like that's an aspect of this that I think when I don't know, man. Like when the Me Too stuff took off, man, in a way, there was a part of me that was like, this was coming, man. But at the same time, when we look at what we do to football players and entertainers and how we put them on a pedestal as a society, and it's like what we tell people in a lot of ways, or at least a lot of men, is like, you've got to become the best athlete. You've got to become the best entertainer or performance. And once you do, these are the rewards, the money, the women, and depending on what your character, what your constitution is, you're going to react to that in different ways. Like we see some of these players, like Willie Beeman isn't one of them, but we see some of these players, they're damn near boning in public in a party. You know what I'm saying? Like the way they're treating these women, and like, even when James Woods, he comes to the thing
he's
to tell the player
tagging all the cheerleaders,
and and he gets in the confrontation with the coach, and the coach kicks him out, and he's just like, and the girl that he came with, she's like, you coming? And he's like, nah, I don't want to, because she sees what he is. She's like, I'm not going to come with you. She's like, fine, stay back and get gangbanged by the whole team or by these Neanderthals, and it lets you know what the expectations are in that level and what, the behavior that they're used to. Yes. It's crazy, dude. It's just wild out here, man.
And like you said, I mean, and a lot of these athletes, entertainers and stuff are the ones that the young ones idolize. You know what I'm saying? They're not idolizing, a school teacher, their parents, older siblings, political figures, which that's understandable to an extent. But I mean, like it's there's no like, we're not idolizing real
everyday
people.
things.
I mean, real everyday, like obtainable dreams. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's all or nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's like the same way.
When you're honestly, I'll put it this way: if the NFL, you woke up tomorrow and there was no NFL, how's that really going to change the world? I don't think it's going to have any impact on society at all. But the way football is now, it's such a big thing socially. A big entertainment.
It's all
piece.
cash grab. Yeah, but I mean, I'm on board.
But if it totally went away, life's not going to stop. Life's going to keep going.
Like we're going to be fine.
Keep going.
Just like the person that thinks that the job will stop working because they quit, or
so in a way, it's not a real thing, man. But it's a thing that we've attached real consequences and concepts to.
The only thing is that because the NFL, these are real players, real people that really had to work really hard to reach these goals. But what they don't do is they don't tell you the numbers of how many people play college football actually make it to the NFL.
How many people play high school football?
How many people that play high school football actually make it to college? You know what I'm saying? On an athletic scholarship. So I mean, there's a lot of ins and outs with it.
It touches some of that on the surface because like there's even the Willie Beeman why he's going so hard, and I'm like, it makes sense because he knows that this machine, if he can't produce, they're ready to spin him up and chew him out. Even the fact that they're even considering bringing back bringing back Cap after I've had this really great successful run. Like we're gelling with the team, but he's feeling better.
But
now.
at the same time,
it's crazy.
At the same time, you can't play a team sport as an individual. Like so, you also like if you decide to choose this course path. There's only a couple sports.
But can you? I feel like it's one of those things where they tell us, some of this shit just to kind of, keep the lines. I mean,
and they do a good job at showing that because the team stopped playing for him, and then he got his bell rung.
I get that also, but at the same time, they became successful because of what he was doing, because of him switching the plays on the end. Even though he shouldn't have done that, and he should have maybe went up. Because I mean, look at let's look at Tom Brady. Brady changes plays on the line,
he's changing that line, not in the huddle.
He's allowed to call. He's allowed to call things as he sees it on, but maybe he's earned that from the coaching staff, and they don't mind.
But what Willie was doing was different.
He's getting good results, but it's
Willie was changing the plays in the huddle. Like the coach would call, like he wasn't analyzing the defense and then calling an audible. Like the coach is saying, "Hey man, run red fox," and then in the huddle he's like, "Nah, I'm gonna do this because this is what I want to do." So he's bucking the system, and so he's disrespecting the coach and his teammates.
That way, though. Like it does present a great dichotomy. Like I definitely applaud the film for doing that.
It does, and that's why. Like I said, I have no negative. I love everything about this film. I mean, it's far fetched. But there is a reason why the NFL would not attach itself to this film because it's going to hit too close to home. The politics in this film is great, and like I said, it opens up a lot of doors while still being extremely entertaining. It runs at a fast 2.5 hours. I mean it's high octane. I think another thing that makes this film work so well is because a lot of these actors, especially the football players, they have football experience in some way, shape, or form. Like my man Andrew Barnowski or Barniski, this is his third football film. In this, he played Madman. My favorite role was in the program. He played Latimer. He was amazing in Latimer. He was also in Necessary Roughness, So, I mean, shout out to Salvatore Totino. He's the one, and this was the first feature-length film that he did, man. Before this, it was just music videos and commercials, man. So, I think the way that he shot it, it gives it this sense of, a realistic value, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, the other stuff, not so much. But, watching the on-field action of this film watching a real life football game, the way that it's shot, all the different angles and hearing, the talking when somebody's mic'd up and stuff. I mean, they really embrace that. And
the talking on the field. The shit talking and stuff.
Yeah, and I don't know how long this film would have been without all the cuts, but dude, 2.5 hours is what we get. They said after editing, shout out the editors, dog, because there was 3,000 cuts made in this film.
Because I feel like it does kind of run a little bit long, for me. But maybe if they could have cut like 15 minutes, but that's it. Nothing too crazy.
And then to just bring this whole thing full circle, I love how it ends. You know what I'm saying? We, like I said, we get this prime time game at the end. I mean, very inspirational moments. You see Cap come back, knowing that his pretty much his career, his livelihood is on the line, and he just balls to the wall. Great first half. Then we also get some awesome Willie Beeman action. All players are stepping up. I mean, they're giving us 100% football action from the film standpoint. But then one thing that I really, really like is like once the credits start to roll, you get like, they give us closure. We're seeing the press conferences, which also gives it a very realistic feel. Like we just saw the end of a game and now we're going to watch all the press conferences with Cameron Diaz's character, Pagniacci. Like she's in hot water for all her shenanigans, which is good because, like I said, for me personally, she's the one I root against in this film because she's just not... her tactics, her methods they were unsavory in a lot of ways. But
they're all about the winning.
They're all about the winning and the money.
That's the thing, though, because like with this film, we are getting a glimpse at things we don't normally see. We might hear a press conference about a office move, but we don't know what's really going on in those offices or the conversations they're having or how they're having them.
And to your point, that's where the movie magic comes in because normally you don't see an owner at a press conference anyways. Mm-hmm. Coach, players, they talk.
Yeah.
Everybody else above that, or that's up in them offices, them skyboxes, wearing them fancy pants suits. They don't talk. They talk amongst themselves. But nevertheless, as these credits are rolling, it gives us just perspective and all this closure. We figure out what's going on with her, with the team and its current state. We also find out that Al Pacino's character, he's gonna, she thought he was retiring, and he's like, oh, and by the way, I'll be the new head coach of this new expansion team, and shout to you, Pagniacci, I'm taking Willie Beeman with me. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, and there was loose rumors that they were actually going to make an Any Given Sunday Part 2 and give us that. Like that time has came and went.
I don't think it would have been time to do it even then. Like this story is what it is. I can't see a real legitimate attempt at this movie as a football sequel. Like, man, don't fuck this shit up, man. Yeah. Nah. What are you gonna give us, man? You gonna try to make this a Rocky of football movies? Come on, man. Stop. Nah.
That's what I'm saying. Because ultimately, we're just gonna watch it for them to be successful, or then they're gonna fail, and then that's gonna bring into a third one. But it was cool, just the idea of that, and but like I said, just to give closure, and all those aspects, I thought it was really dope, man. And like I said, for me, being a big time football fan, and I love my sports movies. In many ways, they're very entertaining to me. You know what I'm saying? Just because of my love of sports. But this one, I feel like it covered all its bases. I know it gets its gripes, and it doesn't hit really heavy on.
But the complaints, they're minimum. They're nitpicky. But overall, I think this thing does a great job for what it presented. Dog. Like it's still a fun to watch, man. Yeah. Like what were 20 years later, 22, 23.
Right. Like this one gets my blood going, dog. Man, when I was watching this, I got jacked up. I was like, yeah, man, and just coincidentally enough, because now this, we got football.
When Do You Want a Revolution came on, you was.
My man thought that perfect spiral. Yeah, man. But no, I mean, it just and then I mean maybe it's just because we got football action today, and this is the start of the season. But
this play today, huh?
We're 4:15.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man. Like I said, as far as a sports film, this one ranks very high on my list. I don't have many gripes about this film at all. I love it from beginning to end. I could watch it anytime, and it was just a great appetizer to bring in, the start of the new NFL season for me on a personal note.
Yeah, I'll definitely recommend. Like, if you haven't seen it, see it. I mean, even though we spoiled the hell out of it at this point, but if you have seen it, watch it again. Put your new eyes on it, man. Because that's one thing that I really like about doing this show, man. Because this is one that I remember. I got the DVD from Blockbuster. It was used when they had the 4 for $20 days, and I watched it for the first time. And actually, you know what? I had this on VHS. My bad. 99. Yeah, remember I did this in the car.
VHS days.
Watching this, and just watched it a couple times. Willie Beeman,
yeah.
The ladies, cold cream, the fans, they screaming.
You think you could defeat me? Yo, James,
man. It was one of the best jingles ever, man. That was amazing.
Yes,
it's a great film, man. Ultimately, check it out, man. But.
And don't get jaded. Just because it's called Any Given Sunday, don't mean you can't watch it on Saturday.
Yeah, I watched it Saturday. Yeah, so I would say, man, check it out, man. Let's wrap this thing up, man. This has been Monk. You can catch me at Monkey Blood on Twitter, Instagram. Follow the podcast. Follow the show at Classic Cinematics on Instagram.
This is Bobby Blockbuster. You can catch me at Bobby Blockbuster 118 on the gram.